We all know that first impressions matter, but did you know that your image at work can also affect your performance, your work relationships, and your opportunities at work? Your image at work is not just about how you dress or about how you look, but it also includes how you behave, how you communicate, and how you interact with others. So, first, let's talk about the benefits of keeping that positive and healthy image in the workplace. When we have a professional and positive image at work, it's going to boost our confidence and it is going to help us to feel more competent, right? Because when we feel good, we feel like we look good, we're going to actually feel good and we're going to carry ourselves with an air of confidence. And that confidence is going to exude out. And when we are confident, we also are competent. You don't find people who are often very competent that lack confidence because even if they are competent, if they lack confidence, other people won't actually follow them or take their thoughts into consideration because it's like, you don't believe you, so why should I believe you? I can tell you, I can tell by the way when I'm interacting with you that you don't believe what you're telling me even though you might know what you're talking about. But if people can feel that, then they're not going to take into consideration your thoughts and your ideas. So we want to ensure that we are dressing in a way that makes us feel confident and competent, but also not just dressing, but also carrying ourselves in a way that makes us feel like we know what we're doing and we know what we're talking about. And I know that in today's day and age, a lot of people struggle with imposter syndrome. And sometimes you do have to work at some things to develop that confidence because the more that you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Like there's this quadrant I remember I learned in a dance class, but I really feel like it applies to anything with learning. It's like, first of all, you don't know what you don't know. And then eventually you get to the point where you start to know that there's some things you don't know, but then eventually you start to learn some things. And then you're like, okay, I know I don't know everything, but I do know what I do know. And then at the end, you get to the point where it's automatic and automated, where it's like, okay, I know what I know. And it just keeps happening. Just like think about when you drive a car, you don't think through it. You don't have to think through the whole process now, right? But when you first started, you had to think through it, right? So it goes the same thing when we're trying something new. But when we get to the point where we've been in it for a while and we actually know what we're talking about and know what we're doing, we want to make sure that we are addressing the part that makes us feel good about ourselves so that we can ensure that we are showing up and exhibiting the best version of ourselves in the workplace. Also, when we have those professional and positive images at work, it's going to improve our relationships with our key stakeholders as well as our team members. So when I say our key stakeholders, I'm talking about like our leadership, our peers, our team members, our clientele, maybe some other lateral areas that we may work with departments or customers or other businesses that we may be interacting with. And so when we have that professional image, it's going to come across as well to them and they are going to see it. Now, for the perfect example, have you ever seen somebody come to work and they're frumpy and they're just like that person has to be super really 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 good at their job for people to still say, okay, this is just Francis and just Frances does her thing but she knows what she's talking about. So it's like almost like you're creating another hurdle that you may have to have other people jump over. It's like almost an unnecessary hurdle because if you look and feel your best, then people tend to think that you care about yourself. There's this one story that talks about like broken, I forgot it was, I think it's called like the broken glass something, but it was talking about in the neighborhood, how can you tell if a neighborhood is a good neighborhood or a bad neighborhood? If you go through the neighborhood and it's swept and it's clean and the streets look nice and it's well manicured, and you're like, okay, people actually care about this neighborhood. So if I move into this neighborhood or even if I visit this neighborhood, maybe I want to bring my best behavior with me. But then if you go to another neighborhood where there's like a broken glass, and you can see overrun like vines and all that kind of stuff. And it's not just one house, it's like happening to other houses as well. Then you're like, okay, well, these people really maybe don't care as much about their neighborhood. And so it's one of those things where people make judgments and you don't want not just your appearance, but it is a part of your appearance. You don't want your appearance to be a stumbling block or hindrance to people actually being able to receive the gold that's on the inside of you because you have something to contribute and you are valuable. And what you have to say and share is valuable. You're very good at the things that you are gifted with naturally, and other people need what you bring to the table. Okay. So we don't want to have those unnecessary stumbling blocks and hindrances to people being able to receive what we have to say and what we want to share with. So whenever we are being our best and coming with our best foot forward to work, looking professional and just paying attention to the culture of the organization. And then especially if you want a promotion and things of that nature, you always hear people say, dress for the position you want, not the position you have, right? Because what happens is when people see that you actually care about yourself, when they can kind of take a quick glance at you and say, okay, well, this person, you know, they actually care about how they look and they care about themselves. And so because they care about themselves, then I'm going to treat them with a certain level of respect because I can tell that they respect themselves. So I'm going to show them that same level of respect that I see that they show themselves, right? And because of that, then you'll see that there are opportunities that are going to open to that person. Because again, if you are very competent, but you don't look the part, and I feel like I kind of don't want to say this, but it's the truth. If you're confident but you don't look the part, that could actually very much hinder you from getting a position. Because otherwise, it's like you have to be super good at what you're doing for people to overlook that. Because sometimes people may actually hold out on hiring because of the fact that they may say, well, this person knows what they're doing, but I don't know if they can represent our company. Like if I had to send them across the country to go represent our company, they come to work with a hole in their shirt, or like it can be that kind of thing. And I'm not just talking about aesthetic look. I'm talking about more about, do you look like you care about yourself kind of thing. And if you don't, then people may treat you as such. So it could keep you from getting opportunities that really you may deserve, and we don't want that to be a hindering block. And, to each his own, do what you want to do, that it's on you. But I'm just telling you how things kind of function. We hate to say that some things can be superficial, but at some points they really are. And it's not necessarily, I don't think it's always that, like people are looking for a certain look. They're observing and they're determining, do you care about yourself? Go out and be the best version of yourself and make sure you show yourself some love this week.